welcome to The Space in Between. This looked like a cute, free little game on Steam. I thought we would go ahead and give it a try. It should just be more of a reading, visual story kind of idea. Kitty... No. So hopefully it'll be interesting and we can see what it's all about. I always like really well-drawn, pretty visual games. Oh, the cat is out. Really well-drawn, pretty visual games, and this one looked like that, and it should have an interesting story, hopefully. So, got some mixed reviews. We'll see. God, it's loud though, so we're gonna turn it down just a little bit since I don't get games there. Make them so unbelievably loud. Alright, so I don't know too much about it, but let's get into it and give it a shot. And June, what is the answer to problem 14? You have absolutely no idea what the professor is talking about. You had spent the previous night watching anime instead of doing your homework. All of a sudden, you feel a kick from the side of your desk. It's 47, a voice whispers from your right. You see Miles. After class, you approach him. Thanks for that, you say. Glancing at his backpack, you see a familiar pin from your favorite band. You listen to Fleet Foxes. Your first date with him is at the park. A concert. I know, at the park. That tends to be more me. A week later, you two sit at the beach pier, listening to the street performers as the sky turns from a soft pink to black. Will you be my girlfriend? I guess to progress the story, yeah? That happened fast. You two bond over your shared taste in obscure video games memes. Tends to be both for me, but we'll go with the memes. FYI, wholesome memes are always the way to go. As the weeks go on, you grow a fondness for the way he always looks down when he smiles. I like how easily your conversations flow, a constant stream of stories, surprising vulnerability and recommendation sharing. He may not have been your first best friend, but he is the most special one. Because here is this guy who notices the way you can't help yourself when you get excited, who holds you when you need it the most. You didn't realize that there was still romance in the world left for you. But here it is, big and glowing and full. You decide to celebrate by having a solo dance party in your room, baking every baked good you could possibly think of. Solo dance party in a room, I'm not a big baker. The playlist, all throwback songs, perfect choice for pretending you're the star in a music video. Your friends don't even need to ask why you're smiling so much. He takes you to two lookout spots next to his suburban house, and you slow dance to Can't Help But Remember We and Golden Hour by Casey. I don't know either of these, sorry if you do and really like them. But I like the name Hannah and vampires, so that's gonna be our rationality. Our days were long, our nights were no longer. Count the seconds, watching the hours. And suddenly you understand why heartbreak and sorrow must happen. To have this joy shine so brightly, you see his neighborhood lights reflect in his eyes, and you dare to take his hand. You are now 5 months into your relationship. Oh, here we go. Pretty drawings, like I love. June. I can't believe you're driving us 2 hours just to go stargazing. I officially won the boyfriend lottery. Miles. I like driving, plus it'll be nice with just the two of us. June. My sense of direction is kind of questionable. Is there no signal, so I don't know if that's a good thing. We did pick a good long drive playlist. You always gotta pick a good playlist for a long drive. Miles. The lookout spot will be pretty. June. It's also in the middle of the woods. If a bear tries to eat us, you're fighting it and I'm running for help. Miles. Glad to know you're committed to our safety. June. I'm very committed. I'm the one devising the plan in case a bear mauls us. Miles. I bet I'm a faster runner than you. I got it. I distract the bear by seducing it, and you can run into the bear and knock it over. Then we both run away. Power of fear will motivate me to run faster. Probably power of fear will motivate me to run faster. Miles. Bears run 30 miles per hour. You run a 10-minute mile. Sorry guys, I am still fighting off a cold. June. I'm not sure I can shave off 2 minutes I'm sure I can shave off 2 minutes in a feat of terror. Miles. I heard if you see a bear, you should make yourself bigger to scare it. Dude, I don't want the bear to think I'm fat. That's not what I meant. Miles. June, I'm a small Asian girl. In order to be big, I need to gain 100 pounds and a whole foot. That enlightened me. I usually go with I am teeny. I would need a lot. Miles. Then you can start by eating the snacks we packed. I don't need to be told twice to eat, but it's going to make me longer than an hour to gain any weight. It's going to take me longer than an hour to gain any weight. How are you supposed to do... Miles. How you're supposed to do it is you raise your arms and start yelling. That's how you get bigger. I don't like this tactic, June. Miles, fine. If the bear comes, I'll attack, and you run. June, I'm glad we could agree on the plan. Miles, I too am thrilled. June, I don't think I've been here since I was a kid. I didn't realize how beautiful it was here. I'm so used to the city. Miles, there's no one here. June, let's set up a blanket and lay down. Continue. Oh, it's so pretty. Miles, do you know any constellations? June, no, I wish I did. Miles, I always thought they were boring, so I made my own. June, what do you mean? Miles, I'll create random shapes from the stars, and then come up with my own backstory, either a random one I thought of, or something from my life. June, that's so wholesome. Miles, my mom said I was an imaginative kid. June, we could do that now. Miles, that's okay. It was a stupid idea. June, no, I want to. Here, let me start. Continue. You are now stargazing with Miles. To form a constellation, click and drag between pairs of stars until all edges of the constellation are visible. To find more constellations, move the mouse to the edge of the screen and scroll across the night sky. Completing constellations will unlock more constellations. Have fun. Ooh. Oh, is that not the right way? Is that not right? Oh, it goes on. Aha. Got you. Now we're getting it. Miles, I see a pond at Blossom Calm. June, I've never been there before. Miles, it's a super pretty park that's right next to downtown. I used to go there a lot when I lived there. June, I wish there was a spot like that where I lived. It was just playgrounds, which no one really wanted to hang out at. June, although, in fact, I had my first kiss at a playground. What was so special about the Calms? This isn't true for me, so we'll go with special Calms. Miles, I go at night when no one was there. There was a quiet, calming atmosphere when there wasn't anyone sitting at the benches, looking at the sunset reflecting in the pond. It just felt like home. Miles, the night before we left for college, my friends and I went to the Commons. We stayed up until 4 a.m. talking about what we would be like in college, and we all promised to keep in touch with each other. But then everything happened, and I haven't talked to any of them in so long. I feel like they've all moved on with their lives. June, it's never too late to reach out. They probably wonder where you are. Miles, yeah, but I kind of ghosted them when I took my quarter off. I ghosted everyone. June, I'm sure they'll understand if you explained. Miles, but it wasn't like we naturally drifted apart. June, yeah, but you never know, one day you can't say sorry. I was listening to this news story about this phone booth in Japan that doesn't work. A lot of Japanese people died in 2011 from earthquake, and people started going to this phone booth to talk to the dead. Anyway, someone put a microphone in there with permission, and NPR did this whole piece about the phone booth. Miles, I don't like to think about grief like that. June, I was listening to the recordings and was able to hear even as a bystander, but after that I realized it's never too late to reconnect. The fragility of human life is terrifying. Miles, I guess you're right. I keep thinking I'll do it, but then I put it off. You need to give yourself a chance to be forgiven. There was this one recording of a guy talking to his mom. I started thinking about what will actually happen one day. We'll have all these years where we don't see each other. We're trying to give him advice, so let's go towards, and he doesn't want to hear about grief, so we'll go to words. You need to give yourself a chance to be forgiven. Miles. But doesn't that mean I have to give myself first? It's true. Ah, we got a new one. Kind of a guessing game on where they all connect. Miles, I see a camera. Jude, Miles, I was thinking, what if pictures could do more than just show you how something looks? Let's say you took a picture of a landscape, you could also smell the fresh air there. You could see the ground, you could basically feel like you were there. Jude, I feel like that is a recipe for a disaster. That's just a bigger incentive for me not to leave my house. Yeah, bigger incentive not to leave the house. You just take a picture and you can always return there. Wow, so you could use it that way. June, you could be on a call with your friends, look at a picture of Paris, all while being in your PJs. Photojournalism would be a whole new level, Miles. June, people who are in long-distance relationships would love this. Miles, do you think you could do one? No. Considering I'm in one, yeah. I need to be optimistic about something in my life, and it's obviously not my career perspective. Wow, seriously. June, what? It's better than having nothing. I think I could. I would have to date to look forward to, that would suit my partner. June, you know about your camera idea. It'd be interesting if we could do that with pictures of ourselves at different points in our lives. Miles, we can see how far we've come. June, your therapist would love that. There are times I'm sad where just a reminder that I was once happy is enough. I don't know if we want to jump into therapist, but we'll just go happy's enough. Miles, thinking about good memories when I'm sad just makes me feel like being happy is further away. June, that's the ebb and flow of life. Miles, and I wish life would stop ebbing so much. June, if we could put a barrier to be like, I'm only allowed to be this disappointed in myself, then that would be great. Miles, you have nothing to be seriously disappointed in yourself for. June, oh trust me, there is some deep-rooted regret within me. Alrighty, after a minor glip, we're back. These days while we're dating. Miles, because we both deal with things way beyond our mental capacity? June, yeah. Miles, probably. On to our next constellation. Wonder what this one's gonna be. Bottle of some sort? June, I see white rabbit candy. A eucalypt. I have no idea, so we'll go with white rabbit candy because it reminds me I was wondering. Ah. Mouse, what's that? Good question. June is a Chinese milk candy. My parents used to buy it for me. Used to buy it for my friends and me to eat when I was younger. A rabbit is on the package of each piece. I've never seen you eat one. I used to think of my mom and it's time to change that. I guess since my mom said she used to buy them. Miles, right, I didn't mean to bring it up. June, I had a family friend who was my age. My mom would let me sleep over at her house, and her mother would give us white rabbit candy. It's weird to think about the good times growing up. Miles, as a kid, my kryptonite was Jolly Ranchers. I love those too. My mom was so tired of hearing me beg, she bought me this bulk supply. I ate so many I threw up. Now I don't even want to look in the direction of Jolly Rancher. June. So my favorite candy makes me think about my questionable relationship with my mother and yours of growing up. Miles, it seems that's the case. June. You know, there was this one time in our Chinese school teacher was sick, so my mom was our substitute. Everyone loved her. She told stories during class, and she made learning Chinese entertaining. I was so proud everyone told me they wanted my mom back. Miles, why do you think she changed so much? June. It's a complex question, still trying to figure out the answer to. Miles. Honestly, it's probably best that you don't know. Not to be harsh, but I don't think the answer is pretty. June. No, I wouldn't change anything. Miles, she's probably going through her own issues or something. June. God has favorites and I'm definitely not one of them. Miles, I don't think that's how religion works. June. To be fair, none of us know God if he's even out there. Miles, I think every religious person would disagree with you. June. Look, God, hear me out. You're really addressing God right now? Miles. June. Thank God, thank God. I guess I don't really believe in God myself, but I guess I'll go thanks for asking for them. June. I know we've had our differences, but I gotta say, you gave me a pretty hot boyfriend. You did give me really shitty parents and questionable fashion sense. You did well in the whole love life department. Miles. June. June. You can be kind of annoying sometimes, but Miles, God, please don't listen to her. June. And with that, I gotta say amen. Miles, amen to that. On to our next constellation. Oh, this one sounds different. Oh, like a tambourine, maybe? June, I see a record. I see a CD. I guess a record, yeah, that's more remind me of. Why a record, Miles? June, I always had this dream to hang up record sleeves on the wall before I went through life trauma. Thought life's problems could be solved through listening to good music. Good song. Miles, I wish I could be that naive. June. Now I just represent a person I can never be again. Miles, I don't think so. That's part of you. The one that gets excited over everything is the reason I wanted you to be my girlfriend. You're the one who constantly tells me to appreciate the beauty of the universe. Yeah, but I'm also the person where it's like one small thing goes wrong and I'm cursing the universe. Miles, I never told you this, but the first time we talked over video chat before we even started dating, my sister already knew I liked you. June, did you tell them? Miles, no, they could hear it in my voice. June, what could possibly be different about your voice? Miles, I sounded happy. June, you need to stop being so cute. I'm going to start appreciating the beauty of the universe again. Miles, I don't think you realize how much joy you have for being alive. That's because life doesn't always feel so simple. Do you think I'm too cheesy? Doesn't always feel so simple? Miles, isn't life always complicated? That's why we must appreciate the rare simple moments. June, I don't remember the last time it felt simple. Miles, I remember when we went to karaoke. June, are you talking about New Year's Eve? Miles, yeah, didn't life feel simple then, despite everything that was happening in our lives? June, that night was one of the last moments I thought everything was going to be okay, when we were counting down to the new year. I really thought I was going to be able to put my past behind. I thought there's no way this year would be as bad, but here we are. Miles, I'm not one to believe in miracles, but I want to for you. June, I don't need a miracle, I just need a break. Miles, I was talking to my therapist about your situation, and she told me that you have to acknowledge that your worldview is influenced by your mom. Sometimes negative self-talk isn't you, it's you mirroring your mom. June, your therapist is onto something. Miles, she usually is. A triangle. June, I see a tea bag. Oh, I usually see tea bags as round. Miles, why is that? Usually people make tea by putting leaves alone. Growing up, I didn't even know what tea bags existed. My Lolo never gave me white people tea. Miles, is Lolo Chinese for grandmother? June, yeah, we used to drink tea on the weekend as she gossiped about the Chinese boys in our carpool group. Miles, aw, that's cute. June, she was friends with the other Asian grandmas in my area, so she told me the insider tea about their lives. Miles, get out, just leave. June, I know, I'm hilarious. Miles, We always got along because she was so accepting, even though she grew up in rural China. She told me she thought you were handsome when we met. He told me how his family thought of us, so we'll tell him how our family thought of him. Miles, I'm glad I have her stamp of approval. June, the fact that she likes you even though you aren't Chinese is big. That's supposed to be an accomplishment. June, she grew up being taught traditional Chinese ideals, meaning you're expected to adhere to social order. Miles, between generations shifted her perspective. June, she's really accepting the newer generation. She actually vocalizes how she's feeling. Miles, what? June, what I mean is that Chinese people never express their feelings or love directly. It's always like, your mom is thinking of you because she brings you sliced fruit to your room. But your grandma does that and also says it to me. Miles, what does that even mean? June, like when I'm studying, my grandma will drop off apples in my room so I have a snack. That's why I love you in Asian terms. They always change the definition of love in Chinese dictionary, so it means bringing produce to your door. Wow, that's so sweet. What did she think of your mom? We pretend to start distance on missus. If we're talking about the 5 stages of grief, my grandmother is a mixture of denial and bargaining. Oh, we're in tune with the thing. If you test our distance, I don't know which one would be. I guess we'll go with the longer one. Well, the foundation of our family has been ruined, so it makes sense. June, when you're talking to someone who's fighting with their parents, you usually give them advice about talking things over, or at least eventually. I was talking to Reese, and he said, you need to cut your losses and move on. That's how you know I got a rich acceptance. Wow, do you think that's even possible in your situation? June, and what's the alternative? Limiting my family until I'm paralyzed? Eliminating? Yeah. Hope. I have to hold on to hope. That's all I've got, really. Alright, so I see our next one. Oh. This way? Does it go down? Oh. Mouse, I see Joshua Tree. June, don't even remind me. Mouse, come on. June, I don't want to speak of the events of Joshua Tree. Mouse, I swear it wasn't that bad. June, look, I don't think that seeing your girlfriend cry needs to happen after a certain number of dates. I feel like our third one was definitely too early. I blame you. Miles, you're the one who said Lady Bird was your favorite film. June, you're the one who brought it. I'm just saying Joshua Tree can't be a constellation. You're the one who brought it? Miles, I didn't realize it was going to make you cry. June, well, you suggested 2 movies, either Lady Bird or that random sci-fi film. How Star Wars a random sci-fi film? June, anyway, I wasn't particularly in the mood, but I also didn't want to sound unappreciative and reject your thoughtfulness, so we watched it. Miles, if you say something, I wouldn't have been offended. June, I was pretty touched that I mentioned I like Lady Bird and you remembered to bring it. Didn't want to be exposed for never seeing Star Wars. Touched. Miles, I thought it was sweet that you were comfortable enough around me to cry. June, my sorrow was not sweet. Miles, I don't think that crying is embarrassing. June, I don't either. But I'd share my life trauma with you before you knew my last name. Not to mention you were stone cold the entire film. Mouse, in your defense, the film was about the relationship between the main character and her mom, and it was sort of related to your life. June, I should have pretended to watch the movie but actually stared off into the distance to prevent the waterworks. Mouse, that's absurd. June, we are Joshua Tree. Why would you bring a movie there, of all places? Mouse, I'm here maybe we'd have some downtime if we were tired of hiking. June, should have brought a board game instead. We entirely could have made out the entire time. I don't know how you do a board game outside, so I guess we'll go with this. Mouse, I support that idea, but I brought Lady Bird instead. June, I should have had the courage to reject both movies. Mouse, it's okay. I think you're exaggerating. I'm just saying that I will never live this down. On my deathbed, I will look back on my life and be like, oh, remember that time you cried? Not just a single tear or two, but sobbed. On your 3rd date with Miles, I will remember. Miles, I think it's a bit dramatic. June, what's dramatic is sobbing during a movie where you're trying to impress the guy. My cool girl disguise was gone by the 15-minute mark. Miles, the movie wasn't even sad at 15 minutes. June, exactly, you got my point. I have the ability to think about Lady Bird and emotional on the spot. Exactly, you get my point. Miles, you see yourself in the movie. That's an emotional thing. June, my whole thought process was that movie is absurd. Miles, then what is it? June, the reason I cried so much at Lady Bird isn't just that I see so much of my mom in her mom. It's because they're able to reconcile at the end while I'm not able to. Miles, oh, June, that's a perfectly valid reason to cry. June, all these books and movies where if you just wait around long enough, they'll come by. But this is my real life. One that can't be wrapped up in a nice, second ending. Miles. June, there's this moment when Lady Bird goes, I wish that you liked me. Her mom replies, of course I love you. But then she's like, do you like me? And honest to God, I don't know whether I would ask the question with like or love. Because I don't think I'm ready to hear the answer to either. Dude, you shouldn't be ashamed of any of that. June, you know at my high school graduation, my mom got mad at me for wanting to take a picture of my friends. She was grumpy the entire night, yelled at all of us during dinner, and straight up refused to speak to me. And it was like, I know high school graduation is stupid and meaningless, but it's like I just wanted to have one day where I could feel like a normal kid with normal parents. And you know how Lady Bird ends. Why your parents to be proud of you as human? June, there was this one time I went to my friend Cindy's house. Her sister let me borrow her clothes and they helped me do my makeup. My parents saw us dressing up and ordered us sandwiches. Her parents saw us dressing up and ordered us a sandwich and we all watched movies together. They were like, we do this every Friday, and it was like, why can't my family do something that's simple without screaming at each other's throats? Why can't they let me pretend that everything's okay? Miles, I'm never going to understand nuances between you and your mom. But feeling frustrated over a relationship with her is normal. I don't know anyone who wouldn't be frustrated. June, I guess I wanted to have something completely separate from my mom. I didn't have to talk about her because I know it's confused people. And I didn't want to deal with feelings misunderstood by more people. Miles. Oh, June. I'm sorry you're going through this. June, thanks for listening. Miles, always. Okay, we've got another constellation to find. Oh my god, why is it lagging? Nope. There we are. Oh, like a piano now. Oh. June, I see a volcano. My friend Catherine used to call me a volcano girl. I see that mountain in your neighborhood, the one we drove to last time I visited. Go with keep to their relationship. Miles, yeah, I know what you mean. June, do you remember when we went? We hung our feet over the edge of the trunk and we talked about what we wanted in a relationship. Yeah, you were actually the first person I brought there. That night solidified that I wanted to be with you. Why was I the first? What was the first? It always felt like my spot. I didn't want anyone to come and ruin it for me. June. What was different with me? I wanted you to see what was important to me, and I finally felt ready to invite someone there, regardless of what happened between us. Personally, I think the biggest mistake people make in a relationship is introducing their partner to any good song or book or place, because that'll be forever tainted once you break up. I appreciate you. Well, Jesus. Let's go with I appreciate you. Alice, I appreciate you too. June, I've always thought I was doomed and there was nothing I could do about it. Things like romance, being desired, being listened to, I didn't think those were for me. Miles, why? June, when I see cool girls who have their shit together, who have this effortless glow, I see them as versions of myself I could never be. So if I were a guy, why would I date me over them? Miles, guys feel that way too. I never know what to say around girls. Me too. I'm the least intimidating person you know. Who's got me too? Because you're scared to talk to girls. Both so gorgeous, so smart, and talented. That's terrifying. Miles. You don't sound scared when you're talking to them, and you never seem scared talking to me. June. Definitely was. I've gone out with so many flaming garbage cans that the perspective of dating someone decent is also terrifying. That's one way to put it. Miles, would you present yourself the way you are, or think about what other people view me? June, anyone who claims they're truly above the opinions of others is a straight-up liar. Let's find our next one. Do we have a ton more? Looks like 2. Miles, I see a sunrise. June. That would be a perfect constellation. Miles. Specifically the sunrise on our second date. June. Really? Miles. Yeah. June. That's really wholesome. Miles. That date changed what I had thought previously about love and relationships. I never thought I'd find someone who got me instantly. June. That was legit me before I met you. I think that something so here in this love is something we didn't believe in. I guess we'll go with relate. There was just someone else. I always felt like I was forcing them to validate me. June, the trick is to validate yourself. That shit is hard though. Miles, people have their own lives, and I always feel as a guy, it's harder to ask for affection. June. Yeah, I feel embarrassed to do it, but you have the world telling you that's wrong. Miles, I don't know if you remember, but we were taking turns making assumptions about each other, and you were like, a lot of people may not notice it, but you're actually quite thoughtful. I didn't think that anyone noticed the effort I put in. There were things I said months ago. When you hear a good song, you tell me it reminds you of me. Of course I think you're thoughtful. Miles. When you said that, it wasn't just a nice comment. I felt like I was seen. June. I didn't want to just see you. I wanted to see you as you are. Miles, I never really thought people cared enough to try. I barely made friends my first year of college, and I basically lost all of them the next semester. I took time off school for my depression. I was stuck in my hometown while all of my high school friends were somewhere else for college, which basically just made it worse. It must have been difficult. You're taking care of yourself, which is the best thing you could have done. Taking care of yourself. Miles, a lot of my friends didn't get it. Because they knew me as this happy person, and everyone moved on from me when I stopped putting in effort. It was barely better than the time I took off. I bet they didn't know what to say once they realized you changed. So when I met you and you kept talking to me, even though I was pretty awkward, I felt like I finally had someone. June, I didn't realize I had that impact on your life. Oh, they're so cute. Miles, I've tried to fit in a lot. I joined the school newspaper, I tried to talk to people in class. I never felt like I belonged. They all just tolerated me, but you made an effort to see me for who I am. You kinda had this thing, it's called a crush on you? Miles. Well, you came into my life right when I needed it most. June. It's funny you say that because I felt like meeting you was the universe's way of being like, here's something your way for the shit we put you through. June. When we first met, I figured you found me annoying. Miles. I was more preoccupied by thinking I was annoying you. June. We should have just been honest with each other. Miles. I was too much of a wuss with you, to be honest. Yeah, you really were. We all have our wuss moments. Sorry, I'll clarify. Many factors, including your wussness, contribute to your lack of communication. Miles. You're going to comfort me by saying you're a wuss too? Wuss in solidarity. They're cute. Next constellation. Oh, cute. June, I see a peach. My peach. June, I always ate them growing up. When I was younger, my mom and I used to go on walks in our neighborhood. She steal peaches off the neighbor's tree. Wow, that's... June, it's a Chinese family thing. I feel like we all grew up watching our parents steal fruit. Wow, isn't that illegal? Maybe, probably. I'm always not intimidated by law. Maybe, probably. Miles. I've never heard of that. Yeah, I feel like if this is all true, then I'm learning a bit more too about their culture in a way. Oh, when did our lights go out? Our lights went out. Oh no. Voila! We have lights. Also, sorry, I realize I'm struggling here, but I'm still sick, so I'm just getting over it. Bear with me. June. Trust me, it's a thing. When I went to my Asian friend's house, their parents would offer me stolen fruit as a piece of offering. And they would ask me what I'm studying and if I had a boyfriend and whether I have post-grad plans. Miles. So the whole do you have a boyfriend girlfriend thing is universal? I think all parents secretly worry that their kids isn't going to find someone. Whenever someone asks me that, I'm like, I'm already worried enough about my eternal singledom. Your parents all worry about you finding the right person. So when I told my mom that I was dating you, she was so relieved. Jude, really? What did she say? Miles, she asked me how old you are, what you look like. June, did you show her a picture? Miles, yeah. June, what did she say? Miles, she said you were pretty. Jude, good mom. I'm assuming it's the same for Asian families. Sentiment is the same, but the questions are different. I couldn't care less if my boyfriend is ugly. I wouldn't know, so we'll just take a guess and pick. Sentiment is the same, question is different. If you were telling an Asian mother you were dating someone, first question would be what's his major, how rich his family is, and how rich he is. I can't take that kind of pressure. First time my high school boyfriend came over for dinner, she asked us in Chinese, he was Chinese, every detail about his family and what he wanted to be when he grew up. Miles, he was okay with it. June, the week before I went to his house and his mom did the same thing to me. Miles, I'd still be terrified. June, there's so many very specific parts of Asian American culture that we just automatically understand, like the whole fruit tree thing and dating. June, I was talking to Rebecca the other day about growing up as an Asian kid, and she was like, I was so embarrassed of what our food smelled like at lunch. I realized that was also me. June, people made fun of me because they said it smelled weird. Guess I never realized that other Asian kids went through the same thing. Miles, and you all relate on this? June, yeah, it's like being bullied about lunch is universally Asian. Miles, I never even noticed that people made digs at Asian food for that. Yeah, people made math and rice jokes, but I didn't realize that it was as intense as that. None of it was overt, I hate Asian people, but it was these subtle comments that slowly chipped away at my identity. Those didn't particularly help either. I suck at math, and people always told me I was such Asian because of it. I mean, I suck at math, but I guess all of it would kind of chip away at the identity, so we'll go with that one. For me, I feel some sort of connection to being American, but it's more something I go through the motions of. It's not like I hear some guy's life story and think that's me. June, I was talking about it with my friend, and it's like, we don't want to be known as just Asian, but everything you do is influenced by our Asianism. That's what a lot of people miss. Okay, 3. Voila. Miles, I see my neighborhood street light. June, why's that? Miles, when I was about to go off to college, I'd lie under the streetlight with my friends and we'd talk about life. June, Miles, I spent my whole life wanting to see more city, more people outside of my bubble. But once I left, I realized that there was actually so much life already in my hometown, as suburby as it was. You always call it boring. Miles, that's the point, really. You can't go out, so you lie under the streetlights and talk about life and why you're scared of the future and all that. Jude, when there's nothing to do, you may as well share your deepest hopes and dreams. I'm scared of the deep ocean. This is true, but I like the sentiment of this one. I'd like to think of great scholar said that. Who would this great scholar be? June. Me. I said this. Miles. A scholar or not, I think you're right. A lot of my secrets were shared under streetlight at night. June. The stars hold all of our secrets. Miles, that's pretty intimidating. June. The amount of times I've shared my secrets because it was late at night and I was in my feels is embarrassing. Then the next morning I'm like, mistakes were made. Yeah, I know how that feels. Miles, I know the feeling. June. There was this one time I liked this guy and we were messaging late at night. I just started sharing my entire life story because I was like, he's going to get all of my life trauma and fall in love with me. Then he ended up ghosting me. Miles, you shared your life story at all times of the day. Jude. Yeah, but I think because I was exhausted, I convinced myself that we were soulmates, that he was destined to like me. Miles, that's a lot of hope to have. Jude. Yeah, but I hold out on things that aren't meant to be. Duly noted. No, but I think we all want to be loved so badly that sometimes we show parts of ourselves we regret. I want to prove this in a part of my wrong. This way. I have the opposite problem. I don't show enough of myself because I'm scared of what's going to happen next. Yeah, that's very you. Miles, after what happened last year, I honestly don't know if I could be in a relationship. June. When we first started dating, I was admittedly kind of scared about it. I'm used to guys dating me and then having it go nowhere. So when you straight up told me about your mental health, I didn't know what to do. Miles. I didn't think it'd be fair to you to not say anything. June. Yeah, I'm just happy you're in a good enough place in your life to take a chance. Miles, I am too. Here's our higher up one. Oh, pretty. June, let's see a paper lantern. Miles, like the ones in Chinatown. June, I used to go to the Lantern Festival there every year. When I was still in Chinese school, they'd make us do dances. One year I was a lily pad. Miles, that's adorable. You had so many things as a kid. Yeah, but none of them stuck. I'm not doing cultural dances anymore, or really anything for back then. I see how it is. Now you see me as a lazy adult. I guess we'll go with more explanation. I've never heard you talk about the Lantern Festival before. June, that's because I stopped going. Miles, too old now. June, my mom still goes, it'd be weird if she saw me. My friends still go though. Miles, your friend knows what's going on with your mom, right? So they should think that they not noticed. Yeah, they do. I didn't find when I was having a hard time that either I would always share with my friends or that they really cared that much about it, so when I was a kid, I would say just pretend not to notice. I don't think young kids really tend to notice. Now, I'm not sure they don't want to make you feel awkward. I'm sure they don't want you to make you feel awkward. June, and I appreciate them for it because I can at least experience the nice parts of being Asian. Miles, like what? June, seeing a Chinese person at a party and immediately feeling at ease is the unspoken bond of meeting someone, sharing no words, but understanding their upbringing entirely. I guess that's true if they're very much more uniform in that, whereas some other cultures were very just kind of all over the place. So maybe you feel like you can relate to that person more, right off the bat. Miles, I've never had that feeling before. June. There was one time in 6th grade where I was at a sleepover with the girls. We all started doing this one girl's makeup and she looked gorgeous. Everyone called her beautiful. But then when it came to doing my makeup, they made me into a literal raccoon. It wasn't on purpose, but Asian eye shapes are traditional Western beauty standards, so no one understood how to do my makeup. So when my friend was complimented by everyone in the group, I was a clown. I'm sure they were trying their best. June, they were, but whenever I tell the story about Chinese friends, I'll know exactly what I'm talking about, my eye shape, and the whole feeling ugly because you're Asian. I always found Asian people very pretty, but I'm obviously their account. June, Everyone else thinks it's a story about me being an insecure kid, but no, it's me being an insecure kid because I'm Asian. Miles. I don't know why anyone would think Asian people are ugly. June, growing up, a lot of that has faded, but I remember being young and having this guy confide in me that he liked my friend being like, she's pretty for an Asian. Miles, I truly don't understand why anyone would voice that opinion, especially to you. I used to wish I was white. I used to have so much comfort being Asian, but I don't know anymore. I don't know that I'd like... I guess it sounds like she's grown uncomfortable. June, I hated being Asian as a kid, and all the best parts of my culture identity are no longer there because my parents and I don't talk. Miles, I don't know, June. The way you describe Asian is the market stealing food. It really sounds like you haven't let go. June, I remember these things, but they're no longer part of my life. Miles, sounds like you're carrying them with you. June, I guess. Miles, no really. If you asked me to describe the American experience, I'd say something general, like our crazy political climate, but you describe these parts of your lives with so much detail. June, I just don't know if the Asian community accepts me. Doesn't help that my family is the black sheep of the Asian community. They should understand that it's not your fault. June, you know you see your parents this one way when you're a kid, but then you grow up and you have this big realization. My parents are actually regular people. I went through that, but I realized my mom isn't even that. Miles, your mom is human, but your realization is more sad than humbling. June, I don't think my mom is this evil person. I think she's someone who can't control her temper to the point where I can't have a relationship with her. Miles, you can't control who your parents are. Some people let that bad luck define them. June, my mom hasn't contacted me once since our big fight. Miles, I'm never going to pretend like I know that what you've been through. But you've had a rough couple of years. The fact that you still have the capacity to empathize with people, to give people your all, it's a testament that you're a good person. June, I was at my friend's house for her birthday while we were gone. Her parents decorated the entire house and cooked us food. We got back and everyone had dinner with them. My friends deserved all of these things, but the whole situation feels more fantasy than what normal parents are like to me. Just gonna double check that we're still good since we had issues before. Okay. Your mom asked about my parents, and it was like, what am I supposed to say? I don't speak to my parents. Actually, they're still alive. You could put it at, we live separate lives now. June, yeah. But I'm the one bringing down the mood. I'm the one ruining the group dynamic because I had issues. Miles, that's not your fault though. June. I want to go where no one knows my name, where I don't have to think about the person I'm supposed to be. Miles, it doesn't matter how much you run, it'll catch up to you eventually. So we're looking for our next constellation. One out there. Oh, but Miles, I see my journal because it was the only thing that brought me comfort when I took time off school. I think it deserves its own constellation. You don't strike me as a journal person. My therapist makes me write a lot. If that's important to you, then I think it deserves a constellation too. It's been almost a year since I took a semester off. I've been thinking a lot about what time in my life. What have you noticed? Painful but necessarily was of self-reflection. What have you noticed? I realized how much better my life would be if I hadn't been depressed those 2 years. I only took a semester off though. My lost time doesn't include when I took time off at school. It's the entire duration of my depression. Yeah, that makes sense. I realize how much better I would be now if I spent those 2 years I wasn't at college productively. Wasn't the type of person that anyone wanted to be friends with. I had all these goals that I put on hold. Now that I'm finally getting better, I could have done so much more. June, you can't control that you had depression, so it isn't your fault. Miles, right. But no one told me that I could never make friends or make progress on my dreams. I did it to myself, obviously not intentionally, but it still happened. June, you're doing great things now, though. You're back at school, you have me and so many other people. Miles, yeah, but if I didn't waste those 2 years, my life could be so much better. June, I think the important part is that you picked yourself up. People spend decades confused. You know exactly what you want in life, which is already more than most people our age. Miles, I've always known. The execution has been the difficult part. Knowing is difficult in and of itself. Miles, I wanted to be seen for my accomplishments. That validation would have made me happy. But I had to stop being depressed and do something first. You should give yourself more credit. It takes so much courage to allow yourself to heal. It takes courage to heal. Miles, I know it was the reason people didn't want to be my friend. I carried the negative emotion with me everywhere. I was difficult to be around. Earlier this year, I ran into a guy I met at our college newspaper. We talked in the semester before I dropped everything. When he saw me again this year, he was like, I'm so glad that you're at a good place in your life now, because back then, you were terrible to be around. June, he didn't have to say that. Miles, but the reason it really affected me was that he was completely right. I tried to make friends and it never panned out because I wasn't likable. I couldn't help that I was depressed. June, I know, but he shouldn't have said that. You never know what other people are going through. Miles, everyone knew and loved him. He was where I wanted to be. June, just because people like him doesn't mean he said the right thing. Miles, I saw all those people who were smart and sociable, and I wanted to be them more than anything. I didn't care if they were boring. They were happy, and that was everything to me. June, loss, want, happiness. These were all the biggest ways to learn about the world. As for the whole boring thing, there are so many people like me who want to accept you as you are. Happiness. I don't think he's boring, so well, the quickest ways to learn about the world. Yeah. Wow, so I've learned. Dude, when I think about my friends, I'm always envious of their lives. They have to go through mental gymnastics. They don't have to go through mental gymnastics just to get by, but I think that when it comes to the small moments of joy, we feel them stronger than anyone else. Miles, they're the ones who get ahead in life. June, that doesn't mean happiness. Miles, they seem happy to me. I recently met this guy in my class and realized that we did the same type of art, so I looked him up. I saw his profile that realized that he was the real deal. While I was back at home, he was refining his style. June, you could do that. You're already off to the right start. Miles, I don't know though. If I could ever reach that level, I don't know if my best will ever be enough, and now I have all this lost time. June, you need that time to be where you are at now. If you never went through the self-reflection or took time off school, you'd still be where you were a year ago. Miles, I guess I'm frustrated that I'm not someone else then. Like I'm breathing through a straw. Let's get through this. I want to see the end of the story. Okay. How I like to see it is there have been moments in my life I wouldn't trade for anything. If I were a different person, I'd lose them. If you really think about it, we're these fleshy bodies trying to make sense of the world around us. There isn't the one right way to a blob of me's own fat. Yeah, I feel like you still... What you go through in your life, you can't really change. So sometimes it's better to just appreciate that it maybe made you the person you are, and hopefully you come to appreciate the person you are and love yourself, and that's how you end up finding other people who can love you too. Hit you with that deep knowledge. Miles, I don't want to lose you. June, I don't know who I'd be if we hadn't met. Miles, really? June, well, I do know, and I'd be worse. Miles, I feel safe telling you things because I know you'll understand me. I could be the best version of myself starting from now, and I still don't know if that's enough. For that to happen, I need to advocate for myself the way you do. If anything, I need your patience. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? June and Miles, we should confine ourselves to form the perfect person, learn from each other. Oh, this is awkward. I would love if I could talk to people more. And I'd love if I didn't blabber so much. And I would love if I were a cute artist. Let me buy as much. You would make a great person. Agreed. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, cute. Mouse. Hey, June. Yeah? Mouse, I really hope you know how amazing, resilient, and special you are. No matter what my current situation is, I hope you know you can always talk to me. I'll always be there for you. Miles shifts his body to lean towards mine. Our face is so close I can hear his breath. Miles, you're my person. June, I used to dream about what being in a relationship was like. I had all these fantasies about guys throwing rocks in my window and making me playlists to fall asleep to. What has happened between us is even greater than anything I could have imagined. Miles, no matter what happens in my life, having you here has made it all worth it. Really, you're worth it all. Miles, you're the brightest person in the room. June, remember the one time you walked me home after Father John Misty concert? Miles, yeah. June, you told me you wish your past self could see you now. Miles, I remember. I wish my past self could see me now. Stars shoot across the sky. June, did you see that? I never seen a shooting star before. And you should make a wish. Miles, I did. June, what did you wish for? Miles, I don't think I'm supposed to tell you. June, I don't like this rule about wishes. Miles, you'll know what it is soon enough. June, really? Miles, let me tell you this. What I wished for just came true. June, just now? Miles, I wished I would fall in love this summer, and I did. Miles, I love you. June, I love you too. Miles, not just that. I love how you're unapologetically yourself, no matter what. I love how you dance when no music is playing. I love how you get excited over the smallest things, like seeing your favorite food at the grocery store. I love that you have the worst luck when it comes to dating, but you still took a chance on me. I love the way you say yes to all my weird ideas. I love that you get more beautiful and determined each day I know you. I love that I get to witness your growth. June, please tell me you rehearsed that, because it was way too smooth otherwise. Miles, I did give myself a good pep talk in the mirror before tonight. Thanks for playing. Aw, that's so cute! Oh, it's adorable. So, sorry, I was kind of like wheezing my way through it. Hopefully it didn't ruin the experience, but I thought it was absolutely adorable. I love the art. I think it had some good relatable points in there. I think it can teach you something based on certain cultures. I loved the story of it and the relationship and how we got to kind of interact with the stars and things. I know it was more of a lot of reading versus too much gameplay, but I still really liked it. I thought it was a beautiful game. I love the story. Got some goosies near the end. I thought it was super cute. There are still some different choices, and it's still a fun experience, and it's gonna be very, I think, peaceful. So if you want to give it a try yourself, it is free on Steam, so you can pick it up, play it, enjoy it yourself. Cute little game. Try the different options. I hope you give it a shot. And thank you so much for bearing with me, going through this little adventure with me, and I will see you guys all in the next one.
Where am I going now? Just falling over.